Alright YouTube, I've been seeing some service truck tours, so I'm going to give you a tour of my service truck. It's a 1991 Chevy Kodiak with a 366 gas motor in it. She's an old girl. She had a bad day on Thursday. Ended up popping the head gasket on the passenger side, so I'll get all my parts on Tuesday and we'll have her running on Wednesday. But this is my personal truck. I really can't complain about it. It's an 18,000 pound truck. It's got an iron horse on the side of it. Up inside my first compartment, Matco 1/2 inch cordless. There's a Matco 3/8 cordless in there. Those are all air chucks, magnets. Snap-on 1/2 inch drill, Mac 3/8 drill. There's a Matco light. My pry bars are up in the back there if I get this thing to focus. Big snap-on heel bar. Die setter bar, I think is what they call that one. 36 inch Mac bar up in the back there. Big blow nozzle. I like that one. That one works pretty good. Two real old IR guns in there. That actually is my first IR I bought. That one's 22 years old. Snap-on 3/4. Not too pleased with them. This is my fourth one in 3 years. Well, my Snap-on guy keeps giving me a break on him. It's Matco butterfly. There's a Blue Point 3/8. Two cheap Harbor Freight hose picks. Try not to put a lot of high dollar stuff in my service trucks. A couple big sockets, truck lugs, sockets for like the Komatsu dozers, like the, what are they, 475, 485. That's 1 5/8 socket, 41 millimeter for track pads. It's all 3/4 drive. Punches, chisels, brass strips, some flat bar for driving seals. In the side there is a Blue Point 24 inch chain wrench. Stephen Cox would like that. Here's the Easy Red telescopic. I've had this one, I want to say 11 years, 12 years. Like he says, fantastic fantastic ratchet. My big hammer's in there. That is a 3/8 whip for running off my air reel. I run a 1/2 inch air reel. I do not use expensive screwdrivers, especially on the road. Those are all no-name screwdrivers. Snap-on heel bars, lady slippers, Harbor Freight, pry bars. Stuff gets too abused out on the road. Craftsman up to 1 1/8 inch. Craftsman double open end. There's a set of Husky stubby wrenches in there. 4 adjustables. These are Craftsman metrics. There's Craftsman and Snap-on open end metrics, and some extra wrenches over there. Harbor Freight 1/2 inch drive. That's Campbell Hossfield metric. J.H. Williams 1/2 inch shallow. That is a set of Popular Mechanics metric shallows. I've been doing this 23 years, and I've had them 23 years. 1/4 inch drive Craftsman stuff. That is a no-name ratchet. Snap-on swivels. Matco 12-point metric. These are Evolve 1/2 inch. I don't even know which ones these are. Mastercraft? That would be like Tractor Supply or something. Campbell Hossfield impact sockets. Mac 3/8 deep. Those are 3/8 drive sockets, or ratchets. There's a set of cheap crow's feet. 1/2 inch drive ratchets. Like I said, I don't keep expensive stuff in the truck. Pliers, snap ring pliers, vice grips, you name it. It's in there just enough to get whatever I need to do. 4 hammers, 5 hammers? Yeah, 5 hammers in there, 2 X beans, and the rest are ball beans. Every oil filter wrench I'm going to run into on heavy duty truck and equipment. 2 big channel locks, extra long Allens, hacksaw, and Allen's Harbor Freight, and my carry tray, homemade siphon gun. That's that one. Give me 1 second. Alright. Charger for the Matco gun. That is 10-ton hydraulic battery crimper. Underneath that is a snap-on T-puller, big snap-on T-puller. Those are tap driver sockets. That is a smaller snap-on clamshell for like 5.5. And then behind it is the big snap-on clamshell puller. Bunch of T-pullers, 2-jaw pullers. They're either Armstrong, OTC, or Snap-on. Lang fuel pressure gauge. That is my die grinder kit for on the truck. That's why it says die grinder. Cut off wheels, zippy wheels, you name it. That is Harbor Freight ball joint press. Use that for pushing anchor pins for brake spiders. And on like John Deere 555, I can open that up enough to push track pins out. That is the OTC U-joint puller, press, whatever you want to call it. Harbor Freight tap socket. Underneath that is a Mac 7-ton 2-jaw puller. That is a snap-on 3/4 drive torque wrench. The only reason that's in there is for working with my 1.5-inch torque multiplier. I go up to 4,500 pounds on that. That is a Mac 3-bolt puller. Snap-on. It's up to 1 inch for taps, tap and die. That is a 6-point 3/4 drive up to 2 inch. That is a 12-point 3/4 drive to 1 5/8. Bushing driver sets. That one is the Mac big bushing driver set, and this is a Matco small bushing driver set. Harbor Freight 3/4 deep socket. That is a Tone torque multiplier. That's a fantastic torque multiplier. 3/4 in, 1.5 out. That is Harbor Freight shallow 3/4 sockets. Impact. Radiator test, radiator adapter, radiator pressure tester. These are vacuum and compression testers, but I actually use them for the fittings for doing like Deutz engines. They have odd fittings that work on the smaller weird motors. I can use their threads to adapt to them. Like I said, on the side I have my iron horse. That's a fantastic little compressor. Actually, not that little. 12 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. 12 or 13, 16.5 foot-pounds of torque. Half-inch air reel, 75 feet. And my Hobart welder is a 225. And that works fine for me. I have a Miller 302 and I have a Lincoln Welding Power 225. And I actually like that Hobart better than all of them. Underneath are my oils, my grease gun, funnel, stuff like that. Like I said, you can tell she's an older girl. She's got the 5-spoke wheel, I should say. In the back, welding leads, my ladder. That is a 10-ton Porta Power. Yes, I know I don't have my caps on my regulators. I'm using it in the shop right now. Trash bag, well, trash bucket. That is a Wilton ATV Vise. This is my third one, but they're not bad vices. Just can't abuse them too much. On the side, that is an IMT 1014 3,200 pound crane. That works really well. Surprising. I've used mainly auto crane and maintainer, and both of them were 6,000, but my little 32, that does it. My remote hitch bars, I mean, you can see what they are. There's a drum sling, some chains for lifting, rigging, come-alongs, different spreaders. Alright, this side, this is all welding stuff, mainly all welding stuff. Welding rods. That is a 7018 AC. That's just a box. There's 7018 DCs that are in there. Rods for cast. Rods for doing air arc, carbon gouging. Pick hammers. Yes, that little Hobart will carbon arc. I run an 1/8 inch rod, so that way I'm running around 200 to 225 amps. That's a 200 to 250 amp rod. This is one of my carbon arcs. I run 2 carbon arcs. This one I think is my K3000. I'm not sure which one this one is. Yeah, I think that's my 3000. Air fittings. Always carry extra ones. 3 bolts up to 3/8 inch, and then bolts up to 3/4 inch. Just grinders are in here. My welding shirt, cut-off wheels and stuff like that are in the back. Cheap Harbor Freight hood, auto darkener. It's in the back of the truck. It's made to bounce around. Snap-on grinder with wire wheel, zip ties, earplugs. I'll go to the other one. This is a mishmash of stuff. Knee pads. I got a blown out knee. This is hydraulic caps and fittings. There's O-rings in the back, 2 electrical sets, brass fittings, DOT fittings in there, AC O-rings. I mean, you name it. Any little odds and ends, cotter pins, cotter keys. Ryobi Sawzall is in there. I bought that $60. That's a remanufactured one. I bet you I had that probably 15 years now, and that's fantastic. That's a Harbor Freight drill. There again, not a bad drill. And here is, it's an Ingersoll Rand air hammer with probably 20 different bits in there, 20 or 30 different bits. Ryobi 1/2 inch cordless screw gun, well, drill, screw gun, files, name it. Just underneath there are angle wrenches and combination wrenches up to 2 inch, and there is a set of crow's feet in there up to 2 inch. Ratchet straps, those are extractors. spline extractors, drill out extractors, stud extractors, and just about everything you're going to need. These are homemade tap drivers for the big dies. They're actually die drivers, not tap drivers. But when you're doing like saddles for a Hendrickson walking beam, put the die in there and you spin it down with 2 3/16 socket, and you don't have to worry about the T-handles hitting and having to unscrew them. That is for the smaller one. These are for cleaning out. These are thread chasers for like AC lines, hydraulic lines, stuff like that. Big box of drill bits. It's carbide bits, wire brush strikers. 3 bottle jacks in there. All 3 of them are 20-tonners. This is the only arrow over hydraulic. My triangles, which I thought I was going to use them on Thursday when I started breaking down. That is Armstrong 1-inch drive impact set up to 2-inch. That is the titanium 1-inch drive Ingersoll extended shank. And behind that is a Harbor Freight 1-inch drive short shank. I actually like that Harbor Freight better than I like this titanium Ingersoll. So, that's about it for the old girl. I mean, other than that, she had an issue, but this truck's normally pretty bulletproof. I mean, you can. She's sitting there. She got the blanket on her to keep her all warm right now. You know, she's not looking too hot down in there. But I'll have her back together hopefully for Wednesday so she goes back to work. Until then, I'm going to be in the shop. So maybe I'll give you guys a tour of my shop one day. It's only a small shop, 40 by 40, but it's enough to keep me going and keep food on my family's plates. So you guys have a good one. See ya.